Welcome back to Wittenberg Academy's Latin 1 course, well actually Latin 2 course. We're continuing now with the book at chapter 31, which brings us into the lessons for Latin 2. So we are in first year Latin. And actually this video will cover lessons 31 through 33, simply because lessons 32 and 33 don't really include any new material. But if you'll open your book to page 53, we'll take a look at lesson 31. The perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect tenses of laudo. So here this is our first conjugation verbs, laudo. And these are formed on the perfect stem. So take a look there at the bottom of page 53, the paradigm for the perfect indicative active of laudo. Laudavi, laudavisti, laudavit, laudavimus, laudavistis, laudaverant. And so we'll say those again. Laudavi, laudavisti, laudavit, laudavimus, laudavistis, laudaverant. And then you can see the endings. E isti it, imus istis erant. And again those endings. E isti it, imus istis erant. And then look at the note at the very bottom of the page. The perfect is the third one of the principal parts of the verb. And the personal endings are added directly to the perfect stem. So laudavi. So in other words, there's no way to derive laudavi just from laudo. You have to remember that the stem for the perfect adds a V after lauda. So laudo is the first principal part, and here the third principal part is laudavi. And so you take the same stem at the top of page 54 to get the pluperfect, laudavaram. And so if you look at this, you can see very clearly that you take the perfect stem, laudav, with a V on the end, and then you add forms that look very much like verbs that you already know, verb forms you already know from the verb sum. So eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. So I know that he has you, so look at his note there under the pluperfect. The pluperfect uses the perfect stem to which it adds the tense sign era with the personal endings. I would just encourage you to learn that the pluperfect is the perfect stem plus the endings eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. I find that a much easier way to remember it. So I would make two sets of endings, one with the whole form, laudavaram, laudavaras, laudavarat, laudaramus, laudaveratis, laudaverant. And then I would make ones with just the endings eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. Same thing with the future perfect. It's the perfect stem, laudau, with a V on the end. And then, again, forms that look very familiar. They look very much like the future perfect tense of sum. Ero, eris, erit, eramus, eritus, erant. So again, I would make two sets of endings, one with the whole verb and two sets of cards, one with the whole verb and one with the ending. Now what these tenses mean, okay, the perfect tense, so back on page 53, the perfect tense, as you can see, is translated, I have praised. The general idea behind the perfect tense is that it is an action in the past, but that its consequences are still current. So when you say, somebody asks you, do you need lunch? You say, no, I have eaten already. I've already eaten. That means I ate and I'm still full. I ate something and the result of that action is still going on. So that's the perfect tense. The pluperfect tense, as you can see from his translation on the top of page 54, laudavaram, I had praised. So the pluperfect is also called the past perfect tense. And so it's when the statement is made about made in past time about even further back past time. So yesterday at 1 o'clock, I had already eaten. So I'm talking about yesterday, and from the point of view of the person, you know, of me in the past, yesterday, I had already eaten. The pluperfect. And then the future perfect. I shall have praised. Tomorrow, by 1 o'clock, I shall have eaten. So that's the future perfect. So that perfect, the idea of perfect there means complete. So you're talking about when an action was completed. So talking today, I have eaten. I completed that action in the past. If I'm talking about yesterday, yesterday I had eaten already by 1 o'clock. Or future perfect, tomorrow by 1 o'clock I shall have already eaten lunch. Three different paradigms to learn in this one lesson, but again, pretty straightforward endings. The only new ending per se is for the perfect, e isti it, emis istis erant. And then some vocabulary to add to your vocabulary cards on the bottom of page 54. Gratia is, it can mean charm, thanks, influence. Obviously it means grace. But it can mean grace in all the senses that the word grace means in English. So not only like the grace of God, the favor of God, but also thanksgiving, influence, charm, and so forth. Injuria is an insult, an injury, injustice, harm. Memoria, memory, obviously. Sententia is opinion. I would say chiefly that word is translated as opinion. Tabula is a plank or a painting, a tablet or record. It's often used to mean like a record book or the table of the law, tabula. Vita obviously means life, vita. Page 55, I don't expect you to do that exercise. If you want to try your hand at some Latin jokes, have a ball with that. The bottom of page 55, some interesting things to read about the rostra there in Rome itself. Lesson 32 is just a review of vocabularies, but of course you'll be getting reviewed on your vocabulary as you take the quizzes for this course. Some interesting information on page 57 about various common abbreviations and what they mean in Latin, where those come from in Latin. Lesson 33 again is simply a review, and of course we're doing our reviews via our quizzes. So for this first lesson, really this first week in Latin 2, you've simply got a very little amount of vocabulary to learn from lesson 31, as well as 3 new tenses, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. So learn those well, and when you feel you have that information down, you can certainly continue on to lesson 34. So it's a nice week even to get ahead, if you like, here this first week of the lessons scheduled for Latin 2. All right, until next time.